All right, we are told that aging is inevitable, but what if aging is a disease and that disease is treatable?
There's a new book out now called Lifespan and Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to that is getting a lot of attention.
And it's even been reported that Jennifer Aniston and her friends are reading it. Author and Harvard professor Dr. David Sinclair joining us this morning. Good to have you with us.
Hi, Lori.
Well, anything that Jennifer Aniston is going to read, we need to read also, not just because you're a great author and world-renowned and 100 most influential people, but that itself must be quite a compliment to know that she's also flipping through these pages.
Well, she's a great person. Actually, what most people don't know is that she's very interested in the science. And she holds seminars in her house with her friends, and I was there recently to talk to them about it.
Wow.
And so they're a really good bunch of people who follow the science of what's going on. They don't just say, oh, tell me what to do. They want to know why it works as well, and that's why I wrote a book, to explain not what you can do now, but also why it works and what's coming in the future very, very soon.
Yes, I love that.
Are there things that we can do, not necessarily like right now, say you've already really lived your life, and you want to begin to sort of, turn back the hands of time, restore yourselves, try to find that vitality. Can you do that?
Well, actually, we're learning that aging is only 20% in your genes, and the rest is how you live your life. It's great news, and there's never it's never too late to start. So that's good news for those of us over 50.
Right.
I just turned 50, so I'm
Congratulations.
practicing a number of things, which I outline in the book.
Okay, and we can even start, we'll go through a few of those. Okay, so in the book you talk about eat less often, that you should be hungry once a day, so you might want to skip, that's like that intermediate fasting sort of.
It is. So intermittent fasting is a great place to start. That's probably the best place to start. Skip breakfast. We were once told 3 square meals a day.
Right.
That turns out probably not to be the greatest way to live. You need to be hungry part of the day to probably live a long time. Good question. And what's actually going on is that your body becomes complacent if you sit down and you are always fed. And we have genes in our bodies that control how long we live and how fast we age or not. Then we call these longevity genes. This is what my research is about. And we know that these genes get activated only when we're hungry or we're exercising or other stresses on the body that say you have to fight back, don't become
You don't want to be
complacent.
comfortable.
Right. Not all the time.
Right.
That makes sense. That makes sense, though.
Right.
My grandmother in love, she only eats once a day, and she's 74.
Has she always been like that, or since she got a little older?
She's just kind of always been like that, and she's in perfect shape. She can deal with Dieter's almost 30 pounds. She was with him for a whole week this last week, and it's amazing to see her. You would never know.
Right. So there must be a lot to that point. Also, it says to get your heart rate up 10 minutes a day in any way you can. So in any way, like you can just any way. Okay.
That's good to know too. With this, also, you say don't eat too much protein. Does that mean meats?
You don't always eat meat with every meal. Try to eat more plants. That's a good way to cut back on a lot of protein. And the reason is that one particular pathway, we call it in the cell, it responds to protein. And if you eat too much protein, it also becomes complacent. So you need to trigger that as well. And that's actually a pretty good way to do that. It also helps save the planet if you're not always
Yes,
eating meat.
exactly. For the environment.
Plant-based.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
great.
fantastic.
It's been great.
Also, go from hot to cold, sauna to cold bath. Why? What does that do for your body?
It shocks the body again.
Okay.
And it turns on these genes. It will build what's called brown fat. We've just discovered over the last 10 years that we have this type of fat in our body. It's very healthy, and it's activated by being cold. And going from hot to cold, we think, is a good way to activate that process. Now, that's not all very pleasant. Once a week, I try to do that at the sauna in my gym, but I don't enjoy
It's
that.
shocking already, right?
But you feel good afterwards.
Right, exactly. Okay, this is something that I know nothing about. Get sufficient deep sleep.
I don't know if
right?
either. I don't know that either.
How many hours do
Especially
you
now.
average?
Well, with DJ, I probably average maybe like 6.
Right, and now she's going to be in the show Waitress, and that's such a grind, the shows that you have to do. So what a deep sleep versus just at least trying to get some sleep? What's the difference?
Big difference, and you can actually now have devices that you wear. I've got a ring that tells me how much I sleep, so I've learned with my body what doesn't work and what works.
Okay.
For me, don't eat a lot of food just before bed.
Okay.
That's also helpful.
Alcohol before bed?
Well, you know, I'm a big fan of red wine. I was one of the people that discovered that molecule in red wine that might be good for us, resveratrol.
Yes.
Right.
So a glass of red wine, I'm fine every night. Not too much and not too late. But also, what you can do is stop looking at the screen. The blue light is really bad.
Yes.
That's the phone,
That
the
makes sense.
TV,
Yeah.
all the things that continue to keep you stimulated.
Well, yeah, and tell your body it's midday. You don't want that. So
Okay.
I actually, my whole family, my kids as well, my 3 kids, they wear these yellow glasses that block the light, and they seem to help.
I was going to ask you about that actually because I got a pair, but I was given a pair in this little box, and I didn't know if they actually helped or not. So they really do.
Yeah, the science shows that it does,
Okay.
and melatonin has shown
Great.
to block that as well.
Yeah, I take I'll take the 1 milligram or the 3 milligram. Would you recommend? I mean, is that you just have to know your body type more than anything, right?
Exactly, right. But low doses are good with melatonin. You don't need more than that.
Right. And the last one you talk about some medicines that are slowing the aging process as well.
Right. Well, so what I talk about in the book is that the science of aging is going extremely fast. It's making my head spin, and I'm used to high tech. And so what we've discovered is that these genes that control aging can also be tweaked by pills and things you can take, some of which
Such
are in
as?
clinical trials.
Oh, they are.
There's one on the market. It's controversial, but let's talk about it.
Okay.
'cause
Why
it's
not?
in the
Let's
book.
talk about it.
Yeah. There's one that's used to treat diabetes, high blood sugar.
Okay.
It's, millions of people have taken it. It's fairly safe. It's one of the safest drugs. In some countries, you can just get it at the pharmacy without a prescription. Now, there's some data, some evidence that tens of thousands of people who've taken this drug as diabetics have less rates of cancer and heart disease and frailty, which makes us think that maybe it could be slowing aging itself.
Didn't you do some studies also that involved getting women fatter and the children to see how diabetes responds to it and how it develops? Wasn't there some type of study that was
Yeah, there have been a lot of studies.
that you were? Yes.
For me, well, I tend to work with small animals and make them fat, and then we gave them resveratrol, the red wine molecule.
That's okay, and that's
And they were protected. They could eat whatever they wanted, and they stayed healthy and lived as long as a lean animal eating a good diet. So that was the first evidence back in the early 2000s, when people might have seen my face in the media, that showed that you could mimic diet and exercise with a pill.
Wow.
But we're so much more advanced now, as people will read about if they choose to.
right. And I keep hearing about NAD. It's the molecule.
Yeah, NAD is an enhancement of resveratrol's activity. There's a gene that we work on. Its name is sirtuins, and it's activated by resveratrol. It's activated by NAD, and together it's like the accelerator pedal and the gas that revs up the body and makes it fight disease.
Wow.
So naturally, when you're hungry and if you exercise, if you lose your breath, it'll activate that genetic pathway. But we can also, at least in mice and probably in humans, take a pill and get added benefits as well. It's not an excuse to sit on the couch,
Right.
because it's you can double the effect by taking medicines or these molecules and exercising and living a healthy life.
That's amazing. Can you come to my house and I want some of these seminars. I'm so fascinated just listening to you. It's amazing. I love it.
It really is.
I'd be happy to. I love talking about this because everybody can change their life and how they'll be when they're 80 and beyond, living a healthy life. My father's 80 and he's 30 and he just started a new career. It's really
That's
it's
wonderful.
heartwarming.
Yeah, I was fortunate that my dad lived to be 90, and he was, traveling across the country giving speeches, and it never even dawned on him, And I told you I have a birthday coming up, so I'm reading lifespan. I can tell you,